1980 was a special year for moviegoers, especially if you like musical comedies. During that year, we were introduced to the Blues Brothers, a film directed by John Landis that starred John Belushi as Jake Blues and Dan Aykroyd as his brother Elwood. These were characters that had been developed from a recurring musical skit on Saturday Night Live. The movie was filmed in and around Chicago, and the screenplay itself was written by Dan Aykroyd and John Landis. The story is a tale of redemption for the parole convicts Jake and Elwood, who set out on a mission from God to save from foreclosure the Roman Catholic orphanage in which they were raised. To do this, they must reunite their R&B band and organize a performance to earn $5,000 that's needed to pay the property tax bill on the orphanage. Throughout the film, they are targeted by a homicidal mystery woman, neo-Nazis, and a country and western band. All of this while being relentlessly pursued by the police. The film features musical numbers by R&B, soul, and blues singers like James Brown, Cab Calloway, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Chaka Khan, and John Lee Hooker. Non-musical support is provided by Carrie Fisher, Henry Gibson, Charles Napier, and John Candy. Permission to film in downtown Chicago was given to John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd after they offered to donate $50,000 to a charity after the filming was complete. A record at the time of 103 cars were completely wrecked and demolished during the filming, and the Bluesmobile actually drove under the elevated train at 118 miles per hour. The film crew had gotten permission to clear the street for 2 100-mile-an-hour passes. They added stunt pedestrians after the first pass to add to realism in the scene. They rented the Dixie Square Mall in Harvey, Illinois, for the mall chase scenes. The mall had been closed for over a year, and rumors started to spread through the community that the mall was being refurbished and would be reopened after filming was complete. Universal was later sued for $87,000 for failure to return the mall to its original condition. This was something that they had never agreed upon. After years of political wrangling, the Montgomery Ward Anchor store and mall power plant were completely demolished, while the rest of the dead mall rotted. The rest of the mall that still stood was finally torn down and cleared away in 2012. Some of the performers were not used to lip-syncing to pre-recorded songs, which is a standard procedure for movie musicals. James Brown ended up singing his number live with a recorded backing, meaning that the rest of the choir was lip-syncing. And John Lee Hooker's performance of Boom Boom was recorded live at Chicago's Maxwell Street Market. Aretha Franklin's performance is cut together from many, many takes, using the parts where her lip-syncing was actually in sync with the recording. During filming, Stephen Brown got separated from the vehicle caravan, and he drove the Bluesmobile 100 miles west on Interstate 80 to Spring Valley, Illinois. How does that happen? How do you drive 100 miles and still think you're in Chicago? After that, he stopped at a gas station to ask for directions. He was arrested by the local police for no registration, being that the plate that was on the car was just a prop and no valid driver's license. A telephone call was soon made to the production company, and the set decorator was more concerned with the return of the vehicle than with the return of the actor. The Soul Food Cafe, where Aretha Franklin sings her famous number, was Nate's Deli on Chicago's famed Maxwell Street. It's now a parking lot. Dan Aykroyd tells the story and he probably's telling the truth and would know the facts behind it. But cocaine was included in the film's budget to help the cast and crew stay awake during the night shoots. According to Aykroyd, John Belushi enjoyed it the most. He felt like it completely enhanced his performance. When Aretha Franklin is describing Jake and Elwood to Matt Murphy, she says, "They look like they were from the CIA or something." The Blues Brothers' wardrobe of dark suits and sunglasses originated on a few Saturday Night Live skits from 1975, where they played Secret Service agents guarding Chevy Chase's President Gerald Ford. In those skits, they wore black suits and sunglasses. The popularity of this film boosted Ray-Ban's Wayfarer sunglasses, which were then experiencing some renewed popularity thanks to the rise of the new music movement. From a few thousand sold through the mid-1970s, sales rose to almost 18,000 in 1981. And this is a big part because of the film, bringing out this model from the verge of being withdrawn from the product line. The receipt, stamped by the tax assessor clerk, is number 6829, dated August 9th, 1979, and it correctly reflects the $5,000 cash for St. Helen of the Blessed Shroud Orphanage was received from Jake and Elwood Blues, with the address of 1060 West Addison, Chicago, Illinois, that being the address of Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. He signs the receipt R.J. Daly, a reference to the late Chicago mayor Richard J. Daley, for whom the plaza through which they drove was named. Elwood removes his hat 3 times during the film. He does this when going to sleep in his room, to break the window to get into the Palace Hotel, and towards the end of the movie, when the Bluesmobile falls apart. Jake is seen without his hat and sunglasses for the opening sequence in the prison until he's given them by the corrections officer. His face is not seen at the time. Later, he removes his sunglasses once when he is talking to Carrie Fisher, but he never removes his hat. The Fleabag Hotel, where Elwood rents a room, is the Plymouth Hotel at Van Buren and Plymouth Court next to the L in Chicago. It's the same hotel and actually the same closet-sized room rented by Kirk Douglas's character in The Fury, released a year earlier. Now, John Belushi was a handful on this film and any of the others that he worked on. But at one point, during the filming of the night scenes, he disappeared. Dan Aykroyd and others started looking around for him, and finally they saw a single house that had its lights on at the time. He went to the house and was prepared to identify himself and the movie, and that they were looking for Belushi. Before he could do that, the homeowner looked at him, smiled, and said, "You're here looking for John Belushi, aren't you?" The homeowner went on to tell them that Belushi had entered the house and asked if he could have a glass of milk and a sandwich. He then laid down on their couch and fell asleep. This situation and many others that happened while shooting films prompted Dan Aykroyd to affectionately dub his buddy America's Guest. The movie received mostly positive reviews upon its release June 20th of 1980. Over the years, the film has continued to retain a cult following. Take a look back at this fun-to-watch movie from the early 80s. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll continue to chase the classics.